Alright guys, there she is. After about maybe 2 months, got her together, got her painted. It's my first time with an airbrush on an RC anyway. I airbrushed back in the 90s when it was cool to rock airbrush clothing. So I figured I'd show you guys what's up and what I did. This is a 1/10 scale Traxxas Revo. If you haven't figured that out by the suspension already or the title of the video. And this is I believe it's a 2014 Ford F250 Proline body. It's approximately 19 inches long, and this is a Revo 2.5R, so it's the older version with a shorter chassis, and so the body is definitely too long. I would not recommend it, but I ordered it, I really wanted it, and when it got here I realized, oops, it's too long. So I'll show you what I did to make it look like it's not too long. And you'll notice the door tracks, 6-pack MTs. They really bring this truck to life when it's side by side with my T-Max. It just trumps the thing. So yeah, where do we begin? Well, I guess first and foremost, if you have not owned the Duratrax 6-pack MTs and you're thinking about buying them, this lettering is not going to stay on there long. I used a product called Modge Podge. It's like a clear coat. It looks like glue when you're painting it on, and then it dries clear. And I painted it over just these areas and wiped it off. I was going to actually tape off the tire, tape off these areas, and use an actual enamel clear coat, tape off the rim, etc. Because I really like it, and I want it to stay. So, yeah, I don't know how long the Modge Podge stuff will work, but we'll see. I really like how it looks. I did have to upgrade the hubs to 17mm, really easily done, and looks really cool too. I think they were like 18 bucks online. The body, I found a 1/5 scale Baja Terminator style body, desert truck body online that was painted in this scheme. From what I understand, it's a pretty popular scheme for RC. When I was looking for ideas, I kind of ran with it and cut out some flames. Use the outer protection that comes on the truck, you know, when it's clear and new, and I used the dry erase marker to draw out the flag, the ripped pieces, the flames, and I cut out a little stencil. After I drew a star on a piece of paper, I cut out a stencil and I just put it here and there and traced around the edges. So then I liquid masked the whole inside and slowly cut out the areas with an X-Acto knife that needed to be cut out, and I painted them one by one. I used Createx paint, which was relatively cheap for a nice set, you know, maybe 15-16 colors, some cups, mixing cups, and the additive or cleaner. I bought a cheap set of airbrushes from High Point, I believe it is, or 0 Point. Came with a 2 in a set for like 40 bucks. I do own a compressor. I would recommend it if you're into RC anyway, to have one. And I was able to get this thing looking pretty good. I did decide to put on the front stickers. I didn't sticker it anywhere else, tinted the side windows, and I left the front window clear, which is kind of my thing. But yeah, all in all, she came out pretty good. You'll see the Integy front skid plate there, Integy sticker on the RPM bumpers. You'll notice those big sheetrock style screws, and I'll show you why in a minute. You'll notice the red push rods and steering arms, etc. That is a Harbor Freight electrical wire shrink wrap, and it's relatively cheap, and it's a quick way to make your truck look a little better. I did have the motor originally sat right up in there at an angle. It looked really good the way I cut it out, but the 3.3 decided to lock up on me, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. So I hope you like it so far. I was thinking about selling the shell, but I decided I'm going to keep it. Let me go ahead and pull it off. I ordered Hot Racing body clips for it. They're a body clip and body washer in one, don't buy these. The holes don't even fit around stock Traxxas body posts, so I had to Dremel them out, holding them with a needle nose pliers. I'm probably gonna buy the Proline screw-on style. So basically this was a Craigslist special. Factory Revo tires, wheels, all chipped up, falling apart. All the rods were really rusty, so I decided to cover them with the shrink wrap. I used a Papermate pen. I cut it to extend the bumpers because the body was too long, and I used 3-inch screws. Not the best handiwork, but it works. And yeah, I upgraded the rear springs to, I believe they're 19-pound blues, or purple kind of. Yeah, purple. Those came from Liquid RC online. I painted the pipe and clear coated it. So far so good. Threw quite a few runs. The header pipe, not so much. It's got a bunch of stuff stuck to it because the clear coat got too hot. I did paint all this stuff here, I'll show you in a minute, and clear coated. The rest of the plastic I just toothbrush washed in little buckets with soap, and this whole thing was taken down to the frame, every bit and piece, and washed and put back together. Had to do the same thing with the rear bumper. Again, those are both RPM style bumpers, which I really like. It works. I'm sure those would break if it was hit the right way, but new exhaust deflectors. I put new cups on there, the rubber cups. Mine were all cracked and destroyed. I decided not to do the pivot ball ones. I was going to order them, but decided against it. I'm going to leave them open and just blow them out with air every time I drive it. So the 3.3, I couldn't get it tuned right. And again, this came from a Craigslist ad. I got it for 230 bucks with a bunch of, all the original parts, the original booklet, and I love it. It ripped, man. It absolutely ripped. And so the 3.3 was not tuning right, and I was trying to tune it, get it right. Eventually it just stopped running, and I took it apart. It was locked up, the piston locked. I had this old 2.5, which is what was originally in this. I popped it in it for now. It's working. This is a new easy start. I bought this online for 15 bucks. The other one was leaking real bad and looked like crap. Was really old. I'm sure this truck was new back in like 2007. So everything is new and clean. New gas tank, new gaskets, nice seal on there, all new fuel lines. Like I said, their springs are new. Fronts are original, but they are the silver mocked springs. And if you guys like Revos, you know all about how they sit and their ride height. I have it adjusted to the highest ride height using the long rockers. One of the best 110 scale RC trucks I've ever had. These tires, not so sure on them yet. They're a little big for such a short wheelbase, but I do like it, man. It looks mean, and it just looks really cool. So, and it hasn't seen a lot of action yet. You can tell it's still pretty clean, and I finished it about a month ago. But it's still fairly in really good shape. I didn't replace any of this plastic, the type of stuff that would just get scuffed up again. I figured why bother? And I decided not to go aluminum, so I basically just rebuilt it to factory specs with a couple of bling bling type add-ons, the pipe painted, the red push rods, and Vintage front skid plate, 3.8 inch Duratrax. That's about it. So yeah, that's my Revo, guys. If you have any questions, hit me up. I had this whole thing down to the frame. Every single piece has been off it and put back together. So if you have any questions about that or having any trouble, let me know. I will tell you one thing, putting it back together was like a puzzle. If you do one thing before it's supposed to be done, you'll find out the hard way when you get to the next step and realize you have to take it all apart again. I did wrap the servos. new air filter, and new easy start wiring, which I definitely recommend replacing if you're doing a rebuild. The wiring gets pretty beat up on these. Alright folks, so there you have it. There's my Traxxas Revo. What used to be a 2.5R, then a 3.3, now back to a 2.5R. Soon to be a 3.3 again. I'm just going to order another one. I really like the 3.3 motor. I don't know that this 2.5 was, the motor was in a box of stuff that I got with another truck, and I think it was in a box for a reason. It doesn't seem to really have the power it should. It's not running right, it's not holding the tune.